Overdrive Awards, Shereen Bhan caught up with a heavy-duty panel. She started by asking Rajiv Bajaj of Bajaj Auto about what he felt about the India story as far as Motown was concerned.
Mobile presents the 16th CNBC TV 18 Overdrive Awards, celebrating excellence in automobiles.
Sops are our birthright, and the government should not be so intolerant towards our demand for sops. So, having said that, more seriously, let me try and answer your question in the context of my company. We now export half of what we make. In fact, with our three-wheelers, more than half of what we make. And I think to us it demonstrates three things. One, in terms of technology, everything we export, whether it's our own motorcycles, the KTM motorcycles, which are exported to US, to Europe, to Japan, and of course our own three-wheelers, they are all designed and developed in India by Indian engineers, made by Indian suppliers. So I think that demonstrates that India has the ability to develop world-class products. That's one. The second issue that is often of concern when it comes to Make in India is this whole issue of labor. And there's a lot of talk about, the need for labor reform, etc. Now, I come from a company that over a period of 10 years, between 1995 and 2005, was actually able to downsize labor by as many as 15,000 people.
Wow.
So that is possible. So that's as much for labor. And thirdly and finally, the supply base. Everything we put together is supplied to us by Indian suppliers. So I think it's all there. The technology is there, the labor is there, the flexibility is there.
You believe that Indian manufacturing today is globally competitive?
No. Not totally yet. For instance, if I can speak on behalf of the smaller producers that are not in the ranges of 500,000 units and above, we would need a bigger base. So we are desperately looking into how can we increase our base, how can we create more volume, because that would make us more attractive in an overall sense. If you look at what has happened in China, once we broke barriers around 100,000 units, also as a luxury manufacturer, that's when you really get into a export possibility and other things as well. But we need to break into that barrier, and we need to have more volume in India in order to sustain that.
Okay, all right. Ambassador, let me ask you this. When you talk to companies that are looking at the opportunity to actually make in India, to manufacture in India, a lot of companies from your country are in fact doing exactly that, whether it's Saab or Volvo. We just saw them walk away with one of the awards this evening. What is it that they tell you that they need to see from a policy intervention point of view? And are there better opportunities that they tell you that they would much rather explore in comparison to India today?
The Swedish industry does believe in India, and there is a high degree of belief in the future, and I can also see them walk the talk and continue investing.
Okay.
As to your question, where are the problems? Challenges. They are primarily in, practically all of them mention red tape, and what the Americans call red tape, bureaucratic hurdles, taxation and import regulations, and other regulatory issues,
okay.
and also tariffs. Companies trade to invest, and they invest to trade.
You're the man, the Make in India man, if I could call you that. You've heard what our panel has had to say. You've heard about the challenges, or some of the challenges that they continue to face. It's been 1 year of the Make in India mission. What have been the achievements so far? And if you can take us through what we can expect for the year ahead.
Firstly, we've tried to make India a very easy and a simple place to do business in. But if you've had controls for about 65 years, too much of paper procedure, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think the government is very, very determined to make India one of the easiest and simplest places to do business in. You were talking about action being in the States, and I totally agree, but one of the key things we've tried to do is to bring in a huge sense of competition amongst states. And I think I see a huge bit about states wanting to change things radically, and you will see a lot of this happening in the years to come, that we started with 100 points, we moved to 340 points. But I think the important thing is that automobile industry is really the harbinger of change. It drives innovation, it drives metal, steel, it drives the Indian economy, and in many ways, if India is to grow at rates of 9 to 10% per annum over a long period of time, the automobile industry will have to really be the key driver of growth. And to my mind, this industry will be critical for making India innovative in terms of both innovation and design. And therefore, but there are going to be challenges, and there are going to be heavy challenges in terms of, if India is going to urbanize very rapidly in the years to come, and if we are going to have 700 million people getting into the process of urbanization, if India is talking about 100 smart cities, that means you'll need many more cars. But the challenge is to have very, very innovative and sustainable cars, whether hybrid, electricity, and I think a huge amount of work needs to go into engineering excellence for sustainability.
Let me get in a...
Mobile presents the 16th CNBC TV 18 Overdrive Awards, celebrating excellence in automobiles.